Now, police investigating the Stuart Hall case today praised his victims' bravery in coming forward with their experiences, which resulted in his guilty plea. But though some of those cases date back to the 1960s, are things easier for victims to pursue claims of abusive behaviour today? Channel 4 News has spoken to a former Territorial Army driver who claims she was coerced by the Army to drop her allegation of sexual assault. Her case is now being reviewed by the military prosecutor. Katie Razzle has this report.
If I don't make a stand and, tell my story, then obviously, it will affect others.
More than a decade after she claims she was sexually assaulted by two Army colleagues, Donna Raymond is speaking out.
I don't want anyone else to suffer the way I have.
A former driver in the Territorial Army, she waived her right to anonymity to give us her first television interview about what happened.
The British Army like to preach that they're an equal opportunity employer. There's about as much truth in that as I've landed on the moon.
Donna says she loved Army life, but in 1999, on a stop-off in Germany after what she describes as an exhausting training exercise, Donna was invited into the hotel room of two colleagues for some food. She says she then fell asleep.
I woke up to find that these two men that I've been working closely with throughout the exercise, living in the same field conditions as them, sleeping, eating in the same accommodation, and obviously I trusted these two men, they were like brothers, and I just could not believe that they were abusing me this way.
What were they doing?
They're sexually assaulting me.
How did you react?
I shouted, "Get off me," and I went straight back in my room.
And felt what way?
I felt ashamed, I felt disgusted.
We can't go into detail, but Donna claims this was a serious sexual assault that should have been investigated. The Royal Military Police lead all investigations into complaints by one soldier against another. But when Donna reported what had happened to her superiors, she says she was told to drop it.
I was made to feel it was my fault. I should never have gone into that room. You know what soldiers are like, which I thought, well, no, not all soldiers are like that. How can you say, And then I was like embarrassed. Oh my God, how could I have let this happen to me? It is my fault.
That was how you were made to feel?
He basically said it wouldn't be in my interest to proceed with that complaint. And that to me was like, he's telling me, if you put that complaint in, that's your career over with.
Was he right?
Yeah.
Donna says she was coerced into signing this form, saying she wouldn't take the matter further. But the rumours followed her anyway, and she was bullied and harassed by male colleagues at her next regiment. She won damages against the Army for that in 2010. Donna's story isn't the first time Channel 4 News has broadcast claims the Army doesn't take sexual offence allegations seriously enough. Anne-Marie Element was an RMP soldier who accused two colleagues of rape in 2009. The military prosecutor decided not to bring charges. We've learnt he hadn't attended training in relation to rape cases, but he was at the time the most senior and experienced prosecutor. The Service Prosecuting Authority does now offer specific sex offences training. Anne-Marie Element hanged herself. Lawyers for the family want a new independent investigation.
Any situation that's founded on the military investigating itself is obviously going to have problems, but there seems to be a particular issue with serious sexual assault and rape. I don't know what the reasons for that might be. It may be that there aren't enough women in the higher ranks. It may be that these offences are just not taken seriously enough. But there clearly seems to be an unwillingness on the part of the MOD to open itself up and really have a good hard look at what some of its servicemen are doing.
Channel 4 News has been shown internal Army briefing notes from last year, which record there are between 3 and 5 major crimes a day within the Army. Most, it says, are sexual assaults, rapes and assaults against another person, like a punch. The Ministry of Defence told us it doesn't recognise the figures. It did give us statistics showing there are 20 soldiers who are on the sex offenders register and serving in the Army. 10 have been convicted of a sexual offence in a civilian court, 6 at court-martial and 4 have a police caution. We've also seen an internal Army email which reveals an unknown number are still in the Army who were convicted but not put on the sex offenders register. It might sound surprising that conviction isn't an automatic bar to Army life. It normally is, says the MOD, but in exceptional circumstances, a soldier found guilty of a sex offence might be retained. The email we've seen says considerations include how long they've served, whether they can still perform a worthwhile role, and the impact staying could have on the Army's reputation and ultimately the interests of the service. The Ministry of Defence told us,
"The armed forces have a zero-tolerance approach to all forms of bullying, discrimination and abuse. All allegations will be thoroughly investigated. We have taken a number of steps to improve training and awareness to ensure that service personnel know how to report concerns and what support is available to them."
But Donna Raymond isn't convinced by a system of military justice she says lacks independence.
Army legal there is to protect, obviously, its own. If on Civvy Street I was sexually assaulted, would I then go to that person that has committed that criminal act on me, to their house and ask the head of the family to deal with my complaint, investigate my complaint, and then put justice on that person? You'd be mad to do that, but that is how the military justice system works, because obviously you're fed by the army, you're clothed by the army, you're paid by the army. There is no independence at all. The military justice system needs to be abolished.
Donna Raymond left the military in 2005.
I'm the tip of the iceberg. There are many, many others, I believe, within the British military that have suffered the way I have.
Her sexual assault allegations are now being reviewed by Army prosecutors.